long to write in you. The past 2 months have called my attention away. I had to gather all my fortitude, focusing all time and energy on an adventure that called my name unexpectedly. I'm happy to report, though, that everything has worked out. But let's begin with autumn. I love watching the graceful falling of leaves that gently place themselves on the ground. It brings me a wonderful sense of romanticism. Now, I may be a little biased. My birthday is in November, but autumn has always been my favorite season, regardless of this detail. I started my day with a walk. And I try to get as many walks in as I can, and hearing the leaves crunch beneath my feet always puts me in a festive mood. Sitting atop a large rock and taking in the view of the landscape while being lost in thought until a granddaddy longleg pulled my attention away. I love watching the leaves fall. It's like confetti as the trees celebrate this season. I found one of my favorite spots, a bridge with a small stream running underneath. Sitting on the edge of the bridge, looking out over the woods where the leaves have blanketed every nook, cranny, slope, and cavern, putting a hush over the world. This is the time when I take in all the sights, sounds, and smells in the new season, putting me in tune with all it has to offer. I love watching the river as the leaves delicately fall on this glass-like surface and slowly drift away. Now, I promise you, I didn't just walk through the woods, even though I could do that all day, taking in the scenic views, lost in a daydream. I did happen to have a little bit of fun. This was a game I'm sure many have played as a kid, where you try to catch as many leaves as you can before they land on the ground. It's just as fun to do it with others as it is by yourself. It's a thrilling feeling when you really get into it. I happened to secure 8 leaves by the end of it. You really can't romanticize autumn without a good twirling moment. There's just no way. But as soon as I stopped, the leaves started showering down to the ground. It seems they were just as happy and in a celebratory mood as I was. And I like to think they were wishing me happy birthday. I love walking across fallen logs where the moss has grown so thick like a rug. This gives me a new perspective of the woodland. To see wildlife scurrying around, it's a fun pastime for myself. Hopping across stones that have made a bridge through the river, the leaves piled up among the rocks, with a few breaking away, drift down the stream. It was a beautiful, clear blue day, and the wind was laughing through the trees. I stumbled upon a holly tree that has grown in an archway shape, like a doorway to a magical world. I stopped just before the threshold, pondering what adventure lay just beyond. I decided to have my furry children in on the fun, finding a reed and trying to get Gus as enthusiastic as I was. He didn't seem to be all that into it. I believe he thought it as nonsense, to be honest. So much so, unfortunately, he broke my reed. I tried to see what his sister would think of it. I should have known better, being that she's a frightful creature who is afraid of numerous non-threatening things. But penny plopped at the sight of this reed and noped out of that situation rather quickly. The sun always seems to be in the perfect position at this time, casting its light on the leaves that still hang to the trees. It's like looking at stained glass. But for the leaves that have fallen and scatter the land, it's like a warm-colored mosaic. I found a big pile of leaves to lay a blanket on and read Jane Eyre. I have finished this book, and it's wonderful. I've loved every page. I think Gus found more enjoyment out of this, being that he is my reading companion, and anytime he can get snuggles is a win for him. I think he enjoyed this way of celebrating the most. Autumn gives me the whole sense of romanticism, and I try to really hone in on it. I feel this is the time dedicated to the trees, as it's their time to display these beautiful warm jewel tone hues. The chill in the air to remind you to drink something warm and comforting, whether that be hot apple cider, hot chocolate, or your favorite tea. The time to open your windows, curl up in your favorite blanket, and travel to a new place while staying inside because of a really good book. Being by the fireside, taking in the flames' warmth while still feeling the nip in the air. The leaves that blanket the earth, that gives this mesmerizing silence, but amplifies the life that scurries around like birds or squirrels that are preparing for winter. I get to see cardinals, robins, and deer being more active during this time. The holly, pine, and ivy stubbornly staying green while the conifers give this intoxicating smell that drifts because of the wind. And this time, the wind is dedicated to help the trees let go of their leaves. Autumn gives me a sense of comfort beset in the jewel tones. It is romantic enough for me to be excited for the latter. I know some people have a hard time with this season because the days are shorter, but when night comes and it gets more quiet and the silence that permeates brings me a sense of calm. Because with this tangible stillness, we know that the trees are preparing themselves for another beautiful display in spring, and that anticipation is just as exciting. The silence can give you a chance to let go of things as well as hold on to the good moments you want to carry with you into the new year. The darkness gives you a chance to see the stars earlier and be enthralled in the awe. The golden hour walks are earlier in the day, and this brings me such joy to have this amber light being cast over the warm-colored trees, seeing small cobwebs cling to the grass, and to know the stillness is a precursor to the soon lively hum of spring. In addition, my birthday. Take time to find little joys and small moments because autumn only happens once a year, but new experiences and new things to find joy in can happen as often as you like. So take advantage of each season and make time to discover them. Until next time, farewell.